I think I'm live. This would be a really cool way for me to start every stream, if only it was original. I think I have a vertical stream set up now. I think it's working. Um, I think what's happening is that I won't really know. I won't really know, like, who's in the stream until um, until people start commenting. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just going to pretend that this is live and that I have people scrolling past me right now. So, like pressure, you know? Pressure. I'm going to come back every now and then and I'm going to check stuff. Right, okay, so hello. G'day, fellas. G'day, boys. Sorry, I seem really distracted. If you look one stream back, you'll see why. Because this afternoon, before I went and picked up Older from school and took you to gymnastics, which was a great day, what happened was I went on here and I did two things. One thing that I did was I created a new thumbnail, not a thumbnail, profile picture for the channel. And that's pretty cool. I've had a pretty good time designing a new thumbnail, logo. Why can't I say this right? Profile picture. I've made sure that I put my face on it this time, which is a big deal for me. Just slowly coming out of my shell a little bit on this channel. And I'm trying to invest a little bit more into the channel, I guess, as well. Just, hanging out on the channel. Now, hang on, I'm just going to turn this, I'm going to try and get this chat going. There we go. All right, I think I've got a chat in front of me on the phone so that I can respond, like, on the phone. Do you know what I mean? You probably know exactly what I mean. Kids just have this, I used to have this ability as well. Ability to instinctively understand what was going on a computer. And ironically, I think after Windows 2000, Windows XP, SP2, Service Pack 2, I think that was the glory days of Windows for me. And then after that, it all just got kind of user-friendly to the point where I didn't feel like it was user-friendly anymore. Anyway, that's by the by. But what I did see happening was, what's wrong with the, and now it's seeing, see, this is what I'm saying, like, it's telling me that I need to use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less, and I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. So yeah, this is us, and I guess we'll just push on ahead and pretend we know what we're talking about. Okay, so let's get to it. Tonight, I want to do two things, boys. I want to, first of all, talk about something cool that happened about 15 minutes before I started this stream. When I was talking with your mum. So we did bedtime and you guys went off to sleep relatively quickly tonight. And then, it was a big day. Older had your cross country and you did really well. You were quite disappointed at where you came in the field. But like, I was just so proud of you at how you finished. Like, you just finished really strong. And like, like I have a past in running, like long distance running in particular. Let me tell you now, buddy, I sucked it. Like, I didn't get the results that you probably think I got till I actually started applying myself to the sport. And that wasn't until I was 13. And that was because of Jacko, one of my high school teachers. Jacko. His name wasn't really Jacko. He's actually one of my favorite people in the world. And he was kind of like a bit of a surrogate dad to me. Not that I didn't want to hang out with my own dad. I mean, I didn't really for many years, but I definitely got a lot out of my relationship with Jacko. And it was kind of like a McFarland USA kind of relationship. If that makes any sense. If you haven't seen McFarland USA, go and check out McFarland USA. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so I got into running well after I started doing it. I used to have to do it in primary school, just like you did today. And this was your second cross country, by the way. You did one last year, and the one last year was like a third of the distance of the one you did this year. You've upped the distance. It's incredible. You ran a kilometer today, which is crazy. You know, I was so impressed, and it had a hill in it. Like it had a proper long, not a short, sharp little rise. It had a proper hill. So I was really impressed. And I was hoping you'd be impressed too. I think I got across you. I don't know. You're 6, so I'm not sure how you feel about it. But just know that wasn't me trying to patronize you. Like, I'm genuinely impressed. It was really cool. Yeah. I mean, I've coached a lot of kids, and I would always say, and I've coached a lot of adults as well. Who am I kidding? Like, I've coached, hundreds of people overall in some way, shape, or form, either in group settings or individually. And I've also run against thousands of other runners. And I'll be honest, like, I'd rather run with and train with and coach kids exactly and people exactly like what you did today, which is the ones that face difficulty and then just keep on going. Over kids and people who just find it really seemingly easy because they're generally fit, and then they just kind of cruise and then don't really push it. You pushed it today. You were feeling it, man. Like, you got about 600 meters in and you got halfway up that hill and you were in struggle street. You were in the hurt locker. We used to say you were in the hurt locker. And so that means that you were feeling like terrible. You had a stitch. And we had a discussion this afternoon about what makes stitches happen. And I think it probably something to do with the fact that you guys had lunch just before your race. So I don't know. But at the same time, like, I know other people who eat before they run, they don't struggle that much. Usually when they're running a bit slower than what you were doing, you were putting in a full-on effort. Anyway, I walked next to you and you said you were really unhappy because you were like, oh, it's happening again. I'm coming last again, just like I did. You did a practice yesterday and you were talking about that. Sorry, I'm just getting a mosquito. Some channels have like fun little gags every stream, and my only thing is with you guys, I'm always trying to kill mosquitoes in here. I can either have it like cool enough that I'm not sweating my balls off, or I can have it that's the good stuff. I had the dehumidifier, like the big dehumidifier in here for like 2 hours before, so it's dried the place right. Like, it's it's nice to keep it nice and dry, so I put the dehumidifier in here every now and then. But what it also did was it heated the place right up, so that sucked. Hey, there's a light on this. Oh, does that change things at all? Does that look all right? Hang on. I've never really looked at that. What? I don't know what I'm doing here with it. I think I just put the timer on. I don't think it makes a difference. It's a tiny little ring light and the fan. That's a cool little feature. I only just realized that was there. And when you were walking and you were talking about how you were disappointed, what I said to you was that your body's just telling you to slow down, so just listen to your body. That's fine. Like, I'm not going to tell you to try and push through the pain and all that kind of stuff. I know for a fact. I remember when I was a kid and people used to say that, and I'd be like, I mean, my problem wasn't that I didn't listen to it. My problem is that I listened to advice of random strangers yelling at me on a sideline without a second thought. So I was afraid that if I said that, you'd do it, and then you would just like throw up or I want you to have a good time, with sport. It can be really fun. It doesn't have to turn into this thing you have to do. It can be enjoyable. And that's coming from me. And one day I'll go through exactly what it did for me to be a competitive runner as a teenager. And I can also go into what it did to me when things can go unchecked. It was definitely an experience, and I don't regret much of what happened because a lot of positive experiences, like a lot. But it was more revealing about me than I think I knew at the time. And I wish that I had someone over my shoulder who was kind of monitoring the mental side of it, as opposed to just, saying that I was doing a great job and just trying to get me to push harder, always push harder, without realizing how kind of pathological that thinking pattern was for me. Some people, I don't know, must love that, but it wasn't for me, I mean, it was for me at the time. That was the problem, at the detriment of everything else. We'll go into it another day. So you did push through. It was incredible. Like, it was really cool. It was really cool. And the thing that I liked the best about what you did was you not only ran a little bit more, but you didn't stop running. Once you started running, you didn't stop running. And you ran about the last 400 meter, you ran it non-stop. I was so impressed, mate. I just hope you remember that day. You might remember that day as being a bit of a flop, but what I want you to remember about today, when you were running in that race, was the look on my face when you crossed the line. And I've actually just gone and ordered the photo I took of you crossing the finish line. I've actually ordered a little canvas of it, like from I think it's Big W pickup. We'll pick it up in the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to put it up. And I want you to remember how it felt to cross the finish line. You didn't do well in terms of the placings, but my God, you finished strong. And you gave your teachers a high five, and as soon as you got across that line, you came over and you gave us a big hug, and I was just so proud of you. Yeah, it was really cool. And I was talking to your grandma about it, my mum, and yeah, she was just saying it's so strange to see you doing the thing that, I did for so many years. And it feels like time's flowing, and I feel like that too. Like, I remember running when I was your age, when I was 6, except we were at a little bush school in the middle of the outback. Not in the middle of the outback, but, over near where, the farm is, the family farm. And our school had, we had 2 houses, 2 sports houses, and they didn't have names. They were just called Red and Black. And that's because they were red and black, and that was it. They were just called Red and Black. Bless. I was in Team Red, by the way. I saw it as fate because, red's my favorite color. So, right. Anyway, good times today. And then you went to gymnastics and you had a great time. You did great there too. And then you also went to, you went back to class and you watched some TV shows, Julia Donaldson stuff. Like, you watched a bit of Smeds and the Smooze, and The Highway Rat, both of which remain classics in our house to this day. Happily so. God, I love Julia Donaldson. She's bloody good, isn't she? I love Smeds and the Smooze, and I think it has the best soundtrack as well, the TV version of it. The book as well is a classic. Book-wise, what's my favorite book? Probably Room on the Broom. Room on the Broom is hands down the best Julia Donaldson book I've ever read. And we've read a lot of them. We haven't read all of them. I think she brought one out like at Christmas time, and it was like about a scarecrow getting married to another scarecrow. It was okay. It was a bit I don't know. I feel like the novelty of her topicality, like doing hot topics from society, has kind of worn off with me a little bit, and I feel like it's getting a little complex in her later ones. I liked Tabby McTat. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I haven't read the book of that though, but I definitely appreciate the first couple we read. Room on the Broom, Chef's Kiss, Julia Donaldson. Fuck me, it's a good book. And I reckon Zog, what an amazing book. Like, seriously. Half the time I was reading it for you, and the other half the time I was suggesting it for me, you know? Room on the Broom and Zog, and Smeds and Smooze. Actually, yeah, that's my top 3. Stickman comes in the top 5 somewhere. Because of the journey aspect, like his hardships that he has to go through. Love it. Anyway, I didn't intend to get sidetracked on that today. Yeah, I was really proud of you, mate. Yeah, good on you, sweetie. Just so proud of you. And Younger, you had a good day too. And so that's why you both got they're called, I think they're called action boards. It's like, you know, like a plastic board. Usually back in my day, we used to make them out of plywood and put 4 caster wheels on the bottom and then use it. I think the other word for it is a dolly. Like, they're just basically little dolly carts. And I think it was definitely time to get something wheeled, because you guys are just trying to wheel everything around and play on it. So I got one for both of you. And we'll see next stream if you've injured yourself yet. I guarantee it's going to happen at some point. But yeah, I think it was the right choice to make. Anyway, Younger, we got a funny little message from your kindy, and they were saying, we need more clean-up music. We need pack-up music to put on when the kids are packing up. What are your children's favourite songs at the moment? They could be songs to dance to sing to, etc. What are their favourite songs? So, so we put up our suggestions, and my wife's just sitting there like typing, because it's on her account, this social media thing that's, you know, like the kindy social media, and she was like, we can't put these songs. Some of these songs we can't put for kindy kids, like, you know, they're 4-year-olds, and I was like, yeah, these are his favourite songs at the moment. We actually left off the Owl City song Montana, because it was a bit iffy if that's actually even one of your favourites or if it's one of your older brother's favourites. So anyway, so at the end of the day, we went with here. I've got the list here. Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters. Obviously, it's a classic. It is. It really is. I was really sad that you guys didn't get into the final song in the Minecraft movie from last year, from 2025. But I'm glad, because K-pop Demon Hunters, it has a couple of real bangers, hey. And I'm glad you chose Golden, because it's the most, you know. I hate the Takedown track. What's it called? The Takedown track, whatever it's called. It's called Takedown. I don't like that song. I don't like the messaging. I don't like the beat. I don't want it. I don't need it. But as long as you guys listened to it, I was into it. Soda Pops just never leaves your head, does it? So, we put Golden. So these are the songs that they want you to have playing they want to play for you at cleanup time to help you get motivated to do pack up time. Golden, classic. And then it all of a sudden starts to go like a little bit unorthodox, maybe for people your age. I don't know. Jolene by Dolly Parton. I'd say that's probably your favorite song of all time. It never stops you like doing a little head bop, and you know most of the words. You definitely know all the chorus words, which is, I mean, 20 or 30 years ago, we'd say it's adorable that you walk through the supermarket singing, "Please don't take my man." These days, like, I don't care about the messaging of you know, telling someone to keep their hands off your man. That's fine, mate. We're living in 2026, but it's just like, It's adult content, really. So, Jolene. So we had Golden. This is going to be your pack up time songs, Golden, and then Jolene by Dolly Parton. And we were going to put in brackets, not Miley Cyrus, because you don't seem to like the Miley Cyrus version much. To be fair, I like it, but I think she should have at least tried to hit the high note at the end, and she just went lower. Anyway. Jurassic Park theme song, great. Classic. It's a classic. Yeah, you've been singing that a lot lately, like humming it and doing this do 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 banger. Absolute banger. Like, couldn't agree more. Love. Duel of the Fates is the last one, and that's where I just wonder if they're going to think, what are they going to think? You know, like, Duel of the Fates by John Williams and the London Symphony Orchestra. You know, the one from Phantom Menace. Pardon me. And the reason it's called Duel of the Fates, obviously, is because at the end of the Phantom Menace, the duel is between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on one side and Darth Maul on the other side. But as you well know, Qui-Gon gets killed, and Qui-Gon should have been the one to train Anakin. Things could have turned out possibly not differently overall, but they definitely would have turned out differently in the immediate aftermath of that battle than having a young and inexperienced and somewhat reluctant, let's be honest, Obi-Wan take on Anakin as a Padawan, fresh out of being a Padawan himself. Very, very dodgy decision. As dodgy as it was to give Anakin Ahsoka Tano to train when he was so young and inexperienced, but that's just me. So I believe Qui-Gon should have, wow, what a different story it would have been. Anyway, so yeah, Duel of the Fate. So it's a duel, because it's a crossroads, isn't it? Because Qui-Gon gets killed, so Anakin gets this treatment by the Jedi at the behest of Yoda and everyone else in the council through the lens of Obi-Wan's training. And the other way could have been Qui-Gon. Let's be honest, Qui-Gon probably knew that he had the hots for Padme already at that point. Qui-Gon would have been into it, I reckon. Obi-Wan probably knew by the end too, let's be honest. But Obi-Wan's just got to stick up his butt. He realizes exactly what the Jedi Council are up to and how repressive they are, but he's part of the system, man. He can't get out of it. So that's why it's called the Duel of the Fates. So let's just recap, son. This is what your kindergarten teachers wanted. They wanted songs that you could do the pack-up time to, like pack-up time at kindy, where you pack all the toys up at the end. So we chose Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters. Obvious and great choice. Fully behind that, right? I'm behind all of these, by the way, but I do wonder what they're going to think. Jolene, the Dolly Parton version, your favorite song of all time, I think. And at 4 years old, I know that's not very long, but you've known the words to the chorus for at least the last 2 years. I don't know what it is about that song. You just love it. To be fair, I love it too. Jurassic Park theme song, classic. You love that song so much. You love that theme song so much that when you were singing it the other day, you got in trouble when other people at your other daycare didn't want to sing it with you, and so I believe there was some retribution from your part given to them, which is not good. I'm not laughing because it's okay. Yeah, that's how much you love it though. And Duel of the Fates, which we've just been spending a lot of time talking about. So here we are. We're back in the booth tonight. And as with every other night, what we're doing is we're going to record an audiobook for you two. Not you two, the band. I don't think they would be interested in it. And I don't give a shit about them. So, yeah, for you, sons, older and younger, this whole channel is for you, as you know. And I was a bit inspired for this one. Usually, as you can see on the screen, if you're on the vertical stream, you're seeing it. Hang on, let me get the vertical stream back up on here so I can see what I'm talking about. On the vertical stream, it's above me, obviously. And on the horizontal stream, which way is it? Is it that? Well, no, it's that way. Okay. And so what you're seeing is the library of short stories, which are public domain stories, which is what we use to record with. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to try and find a specific story because I was a little bit inspired. And the inspiration came from the inherent cynicism I have about content creation in general. Kind of ironic. I'm here. I'm here on YouTube live making content for you, to be fair, but I am part of the problem, and I'm on the biggest, platform, or well, I don't know if it is the biggest platform anymore, but it's the only platform I have any experience in. I'm not going to go over to Instagram or something like that, and I'm not going to go to sorry, I'm just getting a splinter out. I was doing some pruning today. It was a day off. But yeah, I definitely am feeling quite cynical in general most of the time about the content that I find online, especially in the aftermath of the last couple of years with AI slop and brain rot, and even before that, stuff like Skibbity Toilet, just like human-made brain rot is pretty terrible too. And because I live in the world of creating content for other YouTube channels as well, not as much now as I used to. I create like one every 2 weeks for someone else at the moment. It used to be literally about four voiceovers a night. About a year and a bit ago, I was doing about four voiceovers a night across like up to over a week. I'd be making content for about 7 or 8 channels at one point, as well as doing audiobook contracts and stuff like that every now and then. And so I see it from a creator's point of view as well. As a consumer, I love it, but in a way that is probably quite unhealthy. I probably watch too much of it. There's no probably about it actually, but from a creator's perspective, I want to see creators do stuff that they love. Not just for the money and not just for the views and the cred and all that kind of stuff, but it's really difficult to come to terms with that because I'd love to monetize this channel. As you know, like I want to monetize this channel so I can but the difference is my monetization of the channel comes back to why I've made the channel, which is for you. And the whole point I would like to monetize it is every single cent would go to you. That's the whole idea, a little nest egg kind of thing. But what I can't get my head around is what we used to call a couple of years ago automation channels. And what I mean by an automation channel is they'll use some kind of software to automate it, and it could be as simple as Discord. It could also be something else, some other kind of software. I can't remember what it's called. The one that we used a lot. Maybe I still have a bookmark for it. No, I don't know. What's it called? I used to use it every day, multiple times a day. So, I know its logo was like a little post-it note. So, that's kind of annoying. And use this software to ensure that people all know their job in the channel. So you'll hire a voiceover, and you'll hire a video editor, and you'll hire a thumbnail creator. Sometimes that is the channel owner, just to save a bit of money. Or it's the video editor as well. You'll have a script writer, and you'll have ideas generation, which is usually, but not always, the channel owner. Sometimes the channel owner is literally hands off, and they will just let everyone else cook, Those are the riskiest channels, I think, because they don't moderate anything, and it's terrible. So, but yeah, I'm pretty cynical because I've been part of those processes, and I know exactly how bad they can be. If you know what I mean. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like, they are just soul-sucking content machines. then when AI got to the point where it was good enough um, to just take most of the work away from automation and just make it nearly fully automated, the quality wasn't actually that much worse, because the quality of stuff that I was producing with people was just not great. I just was the voice, but I was responsible for it just as much as anyone else. And so I'm very cynical about it. And when I was thinking about that cynicism, to come full circle about what tonight's about, I was thinking of this really cool YouTube, not YouTube, Black Mirror episode called 15 Million Merits. I highly encourage you just to pause this if you're watching it in the future and just go away and watch it yourself, because it's incredible. I think it's probably my equal favorite episode of the entire Black Mirror series, and that's alongside Series 3, Episode 1, which is about social media as well. But in this one, 15 Million Merits, it's either 15 million merits or 15 million credits, but 15 million merits, it follows the protagonist who lives in a world that is basically an entirely closed off, self-sustaining, well, maybe not self-sustaining, but self-contained environment within, I imagine, a large building or a large series of buildings that are all connected. It could be subterranean, no idea. But that's the thing, we never get to find out, really, although that's up for debate in the final scene. But yeah, he basically lives in an existence where you wake up in a small room, like not much bigger than this, and you every day you wake up to ads on screens that cover the entire wall all around you. And if you've ever read 1984, they have a screen on the wall, which is kind of similar. You can't turn it off unless you have the money to do it, the currency, which is called merits or credits. Like I said, it's either called 15 million merits or 15 million credits. And so you get up every day, you go and you brush your teeth, and that costs money to dispense toothpaste. Everything costs something. How do you get money, you ask? Well, after you've had your morning routine, not necessarily breakfast, because you've got to get that out of vending machines, and I'm not sure if there is one in your room. Probably get room service if you tried, but you'd have to have the money. How do you earn money? You go into rooms that are long gymnasium-looking rooms with a screen at the front of every machine, and all the machines are cycling machines. And the cycling machines are obviously creating power, like you're generating power with your human effort. So you're basically all little electric generation machines, and you're left entirely up to your own devices, it seems. Like you're free within the system, but everyone has to do this, or you end up with no credits, and then you obviously are going to die. So what happens is you pedal, and as you pedal, you build up credits. It's as simple as that. You rack them up. And so it's literally a daily grind, daily repetition of just riding. So if you ride faster, you get more credits over a set period of time, or if you ride longer, you get more credits than other people who ride for shorter. And so this guy goes through this daily grind. Then they have a screen in front of them the whole time, and they're all locked into this social media network, which includes movies and channels, and the most popular thing possibly is a talent show, which is what we get into later. Or you can just have it on the street, like you can have a virtual road that you're riding on in front of you, and that's it. And it's like your avatar is just riding on the screen, and you just that's the base model of thing that you can look at. And so what happens after a little while is he becomes interested in a girl. There is another girl that's interested in him. There's a girl that's interested in him. He's not interested in her. She teaches him, I can't remember what she says. She teaches him a trick with the vending machine, which he then uses to impress another girl that he likes. She tells him that she's going to go on this talent show, and he kind of decides to support, he supports her in her aspiration, right? He says, I'll go with you on the show, and I'll be your support guy, and So she saves up. I think you have to pay 15 million merits just to be on the show. So that's what the episode's called, 15 million merits. And she goes on. They completely denigrate her in front of this entire, and the audience isn't real. It's a virtual audience of people watching from their rooms or their bikes or their lunchroom. And they tell her that her singing is crap, which is objectively not true. It's amazing. She brings original lyrics as well that have been passed down from her family, and they denigrate her in front of the entire audience. And so, what do they do? Instead of giving her a contract to be a singer or to take up her own show or stream, it's all about like, you get your own stream. They basically turn her into a porn star. And by the looks of it later on, it looks like they drug her up. Because she's quite clearly not happy with it. Oh, by the way, they drug you up before you go on stage in the talent show. He becomes so vile about this, like so pent up and vengeful about this, that he decides to take matters into his own hands. Because he loved her, and now he doesn't have enough money, because he gave her the money to go on this talent show, by the way. And so he's back at zero. So he can't afford to turn off the TV screens in his room in the morning and at night when he goes to bed. And so because of that, he has to see whatever's on. And she now is the most popular thing to watch in as an adult entertainer, like adult material. And so he has to watch the woman that was taken from him, this girl that was corrupted and taken from him after he paid for her to be put in that situation. So he's living with this guilt and shame and anger and rage and at the system, and you can see it, he's starting to kind of, it's all building up. He's realizing exactly how trapped he is in this life. So he does a Count of Monte Cristo. There's this really famous book called The Count of Monte Cristo, which is a public domain text, which we will be covering on this channel. We will be reading it at some point. And he decides to, instead of getting better, he decides to get even. And so he saves up another 15 million by cycling on his little bike. And he saves up 15 million merits, and then he goes onto the show. Long story short, manages to avoid, via a little trick that he had, manages to avoid being drugged before going on stage like she had been. And because of that, once they started letting him perform, he showed them, like, I think he had brought like a little performance, and they basically just were like, bow, bow, and he was like, fuck you. And he has this amazing speech at the end. Actually, I wonder if it's available, if I can just read it out. Hang on. 15 million merits. Let's read it together. What would we call it? Monologue. Can I find it? Yes. Okay, right. Here it is. I haven't got a speech. I didn't plan words. I didn't even try to. I just knew that I had to get here, to stand here, and I knew I wanted you to listen. To really listen, not just pull a face like you're listening, like you do the rest of the time, a face like you're feeling instead of processing. You pull a face and poke it towards the stage, and la-di-da, we sing and dance and tumble around, and all you see up here, it's not people. You don't see people up here. It's all fodder. And the faker the fodder is the more you love it, because fake fodder is the only thing that works anymore. Fake fodder is all that we can stomach. Actually, not quite at all. Not quite all. Real pain, real viciousness, that we can take. Yeah, stick a fat man up a pole. Oh yeah, because there's like all these joke shows that make fun of fat people who can't ride the bikes fast enough anymore, or whatever, or they're lazy on the bikes. Stick a fat man up a pole and we'll laugh ourselves feral because we earned the right. We're done cell time and he's slacking the scum. So ha 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 at him, because we're so out of our minds with desperation we don't know any better. All we know is fake fodder and buying shit. That's how we speak to each other, how we express ourselves, is buying shit. I have a dream. The peak of our dreams is a new hat for our doppel. A hat, the doppel is their avatars that they use when they ride. A hat that doesn't exist. It's not even there. We buy shit that's not even there. Show us something real and free and beautiful. You couldn't. It'd break us. We're too numb for it. Our minds would choke. There's only so much wonder we can bear, and that's why when you find any wonder whatsoever, you dole it out in meager portions, and only then till it's augmented and packaged and pumped through 10,000 pre-assigned filters till it's nothing more than a meaningless series of lights, while we ride day in, day out, going where? Powering what? All tiny cells in tiny screens, and bigger cells in bigger screens, and fuck you. fuck you. That's what it boils down to, is fuck you. Fuck you for sitting there and slowly knitting things worse. Fuck you and your spotlight and your sanctimonious faces, and fuck you all for taking the one thing I ever came close to anything real about anything. That's the girl, obviously. For oozing it around it and crushing it into a bone, into a joke, one more ugly joke in a kingdom of millions. And then fuck you. Fuck you for happening. Fuck you for me. Fuck you for us. For everyone. Fuck you. It's just... It's pièce de résistance, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just beautiful. It's spoken word. The way he delivers it is spoken word. So they, long story short, the crux of the matter is he puts everything on the line here, and then he gets a glass shard that he's cracked off his screen because he got so angry. He punched his screen in his room, and he cracks a shard off it, and he holds it up to his neck as though he's threatening himself, his life, if they don't listen. And that's how they let him talk. So he speaks with his hand up to his neck with this shard of glass pointing into his throat as though he's about to slit his throat. Spoiler, he doesn't do it, so don't worry. And so what happens is he doesn't know what he's going to do next, because he's in front of the entire crowd of he's got the entire population of his communities, of his society on the hook here. And he's got the judges. They don't know what to do. There's 3 of them. It's like X Factor, Australia's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, whatever you call it. And one of them, he, being the consummate system that they are and that they represent, they take his genuine thoughts and his genuine ideas that he has, these, in that society, original ideas about classism and speaking truth to power and things like that. And they indoctrinate him on the spot. And that's the tragedy of this episode of Black Mirror. They completely take his ideas and just monetize them by offering him a stream once a week. All he has to do is stream to the masses in the same style that he's postulated his rage to them, that he's gotten across his rage to them. And you see this moment where he's considering it, and then he does it. He does it. And so at the end, he completely becomes part of the system. And it's just in a time like 2026 and after the year of 2025, when your mother and I, we watch a lot of stuff that's left-wing and also a bit of stuff that's right-wing on the situation in America, the political situation in America. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. That's not what this channel's about. But there are a lot of people that make a lot of money on this and other platforms by enraging the masses in what may be heartfelt anger and anguish. And I wouldn't, but I've been in the YouTube game too long now to not at least consider the fact that maybe it's kind of a bit of both, and maybe a little bit more monetizing, like a little bit more financial incentive to be angry. Clickbait titles, clickbait thumbnails, clickbait phrases, and optimized hooks at the beginning of videos and things like that. These are all things that I am exposed to constantly on this platform as a creator. And that's why I just like talking about whatever the heck I want to talk about here, because it's just a breath of fresh air. I can do what I like. And I'm doing it for you boys. And the money is secondary. It's even a tertiary consideration, because, like, first, this is for you. Second, it's for me. Because I just feel a sense of relief and catharsis when I get to do this for you guys. And for me. Air my thoughts to a point. And, just speak into the void. It's nice. Although I'm not speaking into the void. I know I'm speaking to you, but, and then third, if there was money involved, great. I'll take the money because I'm not an idiot. And that's exactly what he kind of went with. This guy in this episode, he kind of obviously went with if you can't join and beat him, I'm not like them, but I will take their money. But in doing that, like, we find out at the end that he didn't do anything about the girl. Now that he's got all this influence and power and money, and he's moved to a penthouse apartment that is supposedly at the top of the building or the community, where he looks out upon a forest through full-length windows, which doubtful at the end whether or not they are real windows or they're just bigger screens that are portraying like at the top of a forest in which they live. Like, let's be honest, it's probably not. That's my reading on it anyway, but it's kind of like the ending of Inception. They leave you to decide. So he's just traded his prison for a bigger prison, and the prison of influence and the prison of the hypocrisy that he represents now. Yeah, it's just amazing. It's an amazing episode. It's at once comforting and reassuring that I'm not the only one that feels this way about the world around me. But it's also disheartening because the protagonist ends up, you know, in the same style of the end of 1984. Is it Winston? Oh, whatever his name is. The protagonist there, he's broken by the system as well, you know. So I feel that hypocrisy on a daily basis. I see the impacts of it on other people around me, at work, and in our social lives. And I see what it does to me because I understand that I am, like, not a slave to YouTube, but I am continuously a little bit sad that I spend so much time contributing to the thing that I don't hate it. Like, I'm beyond hate. I just nothing it. I just expect nothing from these people. And yet I'm still here on their platform. Like, the people that run this financial aspect of the world of, you know, social media and the attention economy, call it what you want to call it, late stage capitalism. I call it apocalyptic stage capitalism because it feels like that at the moment some days. I'm not trying to get all doom and gloom, but like, this is just, you know, it's how I'm feeling, so I'm just telling you. And it's okay to feel this way and then still go on with your normal life, by the way. Like, you know, life has to happen, and during the day, we get stuff done. But this is how I feel on the daily. And long story, very long story, extremely, like dysfunctionally long story short, I wanted to find a public domain story because I knew in my heart of hearts that there would be at least one or two really cool texts out there that are non-copyright, and that I can read to you that will get across this idea. And I mean, without having to go and read Karl Marx's, you know, manifestos or anything like that. Or reading some philosophy on it or something like that. I just want some short story stuff, content that I could read to you, that would get across the vibe of saying that you don't support something and at the same time simultaneously holding in your other hand the shackle, like holding the key to your freedom from something in one hand and in the other hand closing the shackle around that hand with the key. Like, that's what it feels like. Working in the attention economy and having it as a hobby, and seeing so many social media creators make content that is quite clearly not actually helping the world, but just causing people to get really angry about it. And sure, there is calls to action. There are suggestions as to how you can better your life, but they're doing it on the platforms that are only encouraging content, that are only encouraging content that that seeks to antagonize and raise cortisol levels in your brain and make you feel panic and make you get dopamine hits from just, if not like physical video editing, then at least rhetoric. And that's on both sides of, you know, left and right, everything in between. Shock and awe, that's what it's all about. And it's much less boring than content like this, where we sit and we think things through. It's okay to know that you are part of a broken system and still participate in that system if you have purpose other than that keeps you going. And you guys and your mum and my family in general, our family in general, sorry, and our life away from the internet is what is the purpose. And this little legacy project here, this little side legacy project on this channel, it's forming an important part of that, but it's not the thing that's keeping me going. So anyway, I found two, and this is the most hypocritical thing. I didn't actually find them. I got AI to find them for me. I plugged in some of my whinge that I just had there about 15 million merits or credits or whatever the episode is called, and I asked it to find me public domain short stories that got across this vibe. It gave me two, and I will show them to you when I get back from going to the bathroom, because I just need to go to the bathroom. And I'll try and remember to have a drink of water when I get back too. I'll be right back. Hang on, I'm just going to mute this as well. How do I mute this? I'll just do it this way. Speak in a second. Right. I'm back. Sorry, trying to get a mosquito. Bloody mosquitoes. Right. Okay. What were we talking about? Okay, what we were doing was we were about to start looking at some actual public texts. And the thing that I'm going to look at today is called, what is it called? It's by like a guy called Dyson or something, and it's, so if we get time we'll do both, but we're going to start with this one. The Rescue by Edward Dyson. Now I've just got to find out if it's actually, I've got to find out if it's public domain, right? So Dyson, we'll just search for Dyson on the Library of Short Stories, sorry. Okay, it's not there. So let's try Project Gutenberg. Let's see if it's there. Dyson. Authors. Edward Dyson. All right, we're off to a good start. 1865 to 1931. It's not saying it's public domain. I might not be able to use it. If it's not public domain, probably can't use it. So, bugger. Okay. How do I find out if it's public domain? I can just do The rescue. Ed. Oh. Wood. Okay, Edward Dyson, the rescue. See, how do they, oh yeah, it's just going to check that I'm a real person. How do they keep it, like, is it public domain they have it online, but hashtag Australians. Interesting. Was he Australian? That's pretty cool. Let's find that out. Okay. Holy moly. Amazing. Okay, so Edward George Dyson, born 4th of March 1865 to 22nd of August 1931, was he died the same year that your granddad, that my dad was born. Interesting. Was an Australian journalist, poet, playwright, and short story writer. He was the elder brother of talented illustrators Will Dyson and Ambrose Dyson. At 19, he began writing verse and a few years later embarked on a life of freelance journalism, which lasted until his death. In 1896, he published a volume of poems, Rhymes from the Mines, and in 1898, the first collection of his short stories, Below and on Top. Okay, boys. So we just have to find out when The Rescue was written. It doesn't say when it was written. Okay, Edward Dyson Wiki. Let's find him on Wikipedia. And that way what we're going to be able to do is we'll be able to find like a bookography, or whatever you call it. Bibliography, not bookography, sorry. I was thinking of a filmography. Right, okay. Short story collections, The Gold Shanty, Some Beyond the Push, Tommy the Hawker, novels in the Roaring '50s, 1906. Others, The Rescue. The Rescue, 1894. Nah, this has got to be copyright free. It's from 1894. He died in 1931. I think we're going to risk it. Okay, cool. So, this is the story. So we're going to turn this into an audiobook for you tonight. Okay, so let's do it. Let's get our Audacity up. And we're going to just start getting things ready. So we'll do a little test in a second. But first of all, we're going to add in our effects. You can't see this, but what I'm doing is adding a de-esser. That's going to stop the sounds from being too harsh. And then I'm going to add in like a mouth de-clicker. I'm going to hit that up to about 70% tonight, unfortunately. I'm getting a few mouth noises coming through, I think, because I'm not very well hydrated. I watched one of these lives back the other day, and I didn't realize how ASMR that is when I'm swallowing water. Sorry about that. And like my breathing even. Yeah, so that's unfortunate, but here we are. All right, okay, I'm going to turn the fan off. Wow, 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 wow. Hey, the sound effects are free, fellas. So, what we'll do is have our stuff open. I'm going to just do a little bit of a test with the sound as well. Enable silent monitoring. Okay, so as you might be able to see, unless you're on the vertical stream, it's definitely, the silence isn't hitting 60, minus 60 decibels, which is a good sign. Right, so I'm gonna have to apologize as well. Like, there's a lot of drunkenness that happens in this, like, so the drunk voices, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do like drunk, but I'm definitely going to be attempting a little bit of a drunk voice. So I apologize in advance for that. So let's see. Okay, right. Now that I've got my voice warmed up, just having a chat to you guys, I think we're ready to go. And before I go any further, I'm going to save this as the rescue, raw, and here we go. So, we'll try this out, and we'll try the classic, the standard intro. This was published in, where was it? When was it published, sorry? 1890, where is it? 4. Okay, published in 1894. Welcome back to Boring Dad Sleep Stories. Today we're going to read The Rescue by Edward Dyson. Boys, I've had a long discussion with you on the live stream as I made this, as I constructed it. Go back and listen to episode 4 of the BD Sessions Live to hear more about why I'm recording this particular piece of literature for you, which was published in 1894, by the way. And Edward Dyson, the author, was an Australian, so that's pretty cool. It's a highly impactful and insightful piece, I think. Let's see what you think. Love you, boys. So much. It was Sunday. There were 3 of our friends in the darkened bar: Benno, the Don, and Mr. William King. They'd been living expensive. Should I do this in like an Australian, like a more Australian voice? Seems risky. Boys, so much. It was Sunday. There were 3 of our friends in the darkened bar: Benno, the Don, and Mr. William King. They'd been living expensively during the last few hours and had recently arrived at a due sense of their importance in the great scheme of things. The Don, who was a sturdy drinker of native ales, was as thoroughly pickled as little Mr. Ben Dixon, a mere amateur. Hang on, I need the spectrogram? Spectrogram. Here we go. Their importance in the great scheme of things. Mr. Wait, what is it? I've lost my place. The Don, who was a sturdy drinker of native ales, was as thoroughly pickled as little Mr. Ben Dixon, a mere amateur and a thirster of wretched capacity, but this spree was something in the nature of a handicap, Nicholas Don having started on a career of profligacy early in the day. He associated himself with Billy King in the afternoon, and towards evening the two fell in with Benno and straightway adopted the small clerk with the intention of making him as disgraceful as themselves. Ha! As a result of this nice adjustment, the Don, Benno, and Billy King were in a corresponding condition of exaltation and noble pride. Their admiration for each other was only exceeded by the appreciation each had of his own splendid qualities as a man and a brother, a public-spirited citizen, a friend of virtue, and a heroic champion of the poor and downtrodden. The conversation had taken a philosophical turn. It bore gravely on the shocking inequalities fostered by the existing social system, the increasing tyranny of the rich, the sweat and agony of the toiling masses. There were moments when the little clerk felt strongly impelled to go out and kill a plutocrat in the interests of the working man. He had mentioned it more than once. Nicholas Don set down his pewter where the counter should have been, but wasn't, and gazed at Benno with brimming eyes. He embraced him. "I'm very fond of you, Benno," he said. "You're a splendid fella. Man of my own heart, brave as a lion, true as steel. What I like in you, Dixon, is there's no beastly pride about you, and you're brave." Benno was much moved. Whoops. You're brave. Benno was much moved. He seized the Don's hand and wrung it with silent fervor. It was a touching scene, Billy King, from under whose hat tiny drops of perspiration were oozing, surveyed it with symptoms of profound emotion. "Yes, you are," said Nicholas defiantly. "You're brave. You stand up for the suffering masses, same as me." "Me too," said Billy King. He was very pale but determined. "Let's do or die," he said. Nicholas Don embraced Billy with the other arm. He regarded him with tender pride. "Here, here," he said. "We'll stand together. It's time something was put down. There's too much unnecessary suffering poor in the world. The rich is getting richer, and the poor is getting poorer. Look at the widow and the orphan," he cried. "Look at the widow and the orphan," he repeated, still more vehemently. Benno burst into tears. There was silence for a few moments. The other two regarded our Mr. Dixon in puzzled melancholy. They were struggling to recall the circumstances. "Widow and orphan," said Billy King, prompting, but his brilliant mind refused to connect Benno's tears with the argument. The two fell on Dixon. They smothered him with sympathy. Billy King wiped his eye. The Don patted him on the back and murmured soothingly, "Buck up, old man." Wait. Oh no, here we go. The Don patted sympathy. Billy King wiped his eye. The Don... Billy King wiped his eye. The Don patted him on the back and murmured soothingly, "Buck up, old man," he said. "Buck up. Never say die while you got strong heart and stout head." It appeared that Mr. Dixon was crying over the widow and orphan in a general sort of way. He thought he once knew a widow and orphan somewhere. He could not recollect where. He thought she was pale and beautiful with a look of heavenly ragged. Where? He thought she was pale and beautiful with a look of heavenly resignation, but he wasn't sure. However, his grief was not for any individual case, it was for widows and orphans as a class. He wept on principle. Benno's friends did not despise his tears. They respected him for them. Shows tenor... Wait, Nicholas hasn't talked yet, has he? Oh no, Nicholas is the Don. It's a lot. Sorry about the burp. It's a lot to go through. Okay. They respected him for him. Shows tenor, sympathetic nature, said Nicholas. Have a drink? The Don looked narrowly at the two pewters on the counter. His own was on the floor. He counted the pots, and a worried calculation fled across his mind. "Where's old Billy gone?" he said. Calculation fled across his mind. Wait, has he talked yet? The Don patted him on the back. What? So who's who? William King, Billy King, Benno the Don, and Mr. William King. Mr. Ben Dixon is Benno. Ben Dixon is Benno. This is classic Australian. Nicholas Don. Ben Dixon, Nicholas Don, William King. Ben Dixon. Calculation fled across his mind. "Where's old Billy gone?" he said. He counted the pewters again. Billy was still absent, so he drank Billy's beer. They had another, and the conversation developed greater fervor. It became evident that the democracy must awake and arise. In the absence of a general awakening and arising, the three were prepared to awake and arise entirely on their own responsibility. There's the entirely on their own responsibility. There's their wireless telegraphy and their preferential voting, said Don. And their preferential voting, said the Don, argumentatively. And their preferential voting, said the Don, argumentatively. What good are they to the working man? What we want's quality of opportunity. Quality of opportunity, he repeated. Yes, said Benno. Quality of opportunity. Liberty of the subject, said Billy King. How have they been treating Hemming? What a price a free country. How have they been treating Hemming? What? How have they been treating Hemming? It's not right. And liberty of the subject, said Billy King. How have they been treating Hemming? What price a free country where they pinch a poor man for speaking his mind? That's right, said the Don, sagaciously. That's right. It's an infringement of the rights of free speech. Something'll have to be done. Benno was quite positive about it. He saw the country sliding to ruin. Immediate action was called for. It's up to us to do it, he said. Hemming's a friend of the struggling masses. Damn it, he's a friend of mine. Hemming had been arrested that morning for inflammatory... Masses, damn it, he's a friend of mine. Hemming had been arrested that morning... Masses, damn it, he's a friend of mine. Hemming had been arrested that morning for inflammatory language in the course of a Yarrabank oration dealing with constituted authorities, conventional religions, and great persons, and was then languishing in a prison cell. Billy's reminder gave point and purpose to the fine emotions of the brothers in the beer. Was then languishing in a prison cell. Billy's reminder gave point and purpose to the fine emotions of the brothers in beer. Their aspirations took form. Here was an object, a mission. It's outrageous, said Nicholas Don. Hammond's a decent bloke. He hasn't done anybody any harm, and just because he's speaking up for suffering humanity, the Johns runs him in. This has got to be put a stop to. He hit the counter with his pint. This has got to be put a stop to, he said decisively, addressing. Put a stop to, he said decisively, addressing the barmaid. Don't care how and what you say. Righto, cried the little clerk. It's up to us to use our influence. We'll see someone about it, said Billy King vaguely. Determination was stamped upon their brows. Enthusiasm was in their hearts. Their souls were suffused with a righteous scorn for the oppressor and a hatred for wrongdoing. No. What the hell was that? What the hell is any of this? My reading of this is weird. Said Billy King vaguely. Determination was stamped upon their brows. Enthusiasm was in their hearts. Their souls were suffused with a righteous scorn for the oppressor and a hatred of wrongdoing. They had another drink. Now, we'll go to get that man out, said the Don. Yes, now we'll get him out and perish in attempt, said Kingy. Liberty or death, cried Benno. They shook hands on it and marched resolutely into the street. The three patriots did not merely hail a tram, they commandeered one. They were public-spirited men with a great purpose. Already their quest had assumed the dignity of a popular rising. They did not stop the tram with insolence or hauteur, but there was a terrible impressiveness about their joint behest that might have stopped a universe. The whole tram system trembled and obeyed. Benno explained to the conductor that they were bound for the city to secure the immediate release from durance vile of good comrade Hemming. It was understood that in these circumstances, the train would be rushed straight through. Let me try again.
Tram system trembled
and obeyed. Benno explained to the conductor that they were bound for the city to secure... Benno explained to the conductor that they were bound for the city to secure the immediate release from durance vile of good comrade Hemming. Hemming? Far out. Come on, mate.
Tram system trembled and obeyed.
Benny explained to the conductor that they were bound for the city to secure the immediate release from durance vile of good comrade Hemming. It was understood that in these circumstances the tram would be rushed straight through. And when presently it stopped to pick up passengers, the public benefactors were hurt and indignant. It seemed to them that the conductor was showing a lamentable lack of enthusiasm in a great cause. Benno threatened to report him. He promised to hold the tramway system up to popular odium. He expressed the belief that the system was no friend of the working man. When the three reached the city, their grand purpose was still uppermost in their minds. They knew perfectly well what they were going to do. They were about to visit the powers, and by bugger.
They knew perfectly well what they were going to do.
They were about to visit the powers, and by the exercise of their own enormous personal influence and their great perspicacity, induce them to throw open the jail doors to the martyred Hemming. In the event of a failure of the methods, which, however, was not likely, Nicholas Don was prepared to remind the Premier that their force of character alone was preventing a terrible rising, and that what restraint they exerted over an outraged and furious populace would be withdrawn at once if the just request of the democracy were not instantly complied with. They met Fuzzy Ellis. Fuzzy was leading 4 little nephews and nieces. He did not seem overjoyed to see them. They backed him up against the... Oh, wait, that's not right.
Not seem overjoyed to see them.
They backed him up against the town hall and explained their mission to him. They explained it at great length. Fuzzy tried to get away, but they held him to the wall, saying that he must not detain them, as it was absolutely necessary that they should go at once and bring the Chief Justice to release Comrade Hemming. Fuzzy Ellis was painfully proprietary. He sympathized with everything. He agreed with everybody. His little nephews and nieces clung to his legs. And Benno and Nicholas and Billy King enlarged on the infamy of which constituted authority had been guilted... Oh, wait. That doesn't make any sense.
Little nephews and nieces clung to his legs.
And Benny and Nicholas and Billy King enlarged on the infamy of which constituted authority had been guilty in incarcerating that noble soul comrade... Bugger, nearly got it.
Clung to his legs.
Oh, fuck.
Little nephews and nieces
Clung to his legs. And Benny and Nicholas and Billy King enlarged on the infamy of which constituted authority had been guilty in incarcerating that noble soul comrade Hemming. Finally, they got very angry with Fuzzy for detaining them, knowing the importance and urgency of their mission, and Benno dismissed him with scorn and contempt. "It's no use you talking. Our mind's made up," said the clerk. "We'll have him out. Perish the tempt." No, that's not how I wrote.
"Use you talking. Our mind's made up."
What good are you?
"Use you talking. Our mind's made up.
said the clerk. We'll have him out, perish the tempt. What good are you to the working man? You hireling of the rich. Stand aside, I say. They passed on. The Don suggested that their next course was to have a drink. No doubt that was the proper procedure. There was not a dissentient voice. Don knew a pub. In another dark, secluded bar, they told the vague, furtive barmaid their splendid intention. They swore her to secrecy, and then, having looked up the address of the Prime Minister in a directory, they went forth again, firm in their purpose. Billy King was on the door at another pub, and after that, they took tram to a northern suburb to visit a hotel where the Don was known and respected. All this time, their zeal in the interests of the people's champion, Comrade Hemming, burned white hot. Through many dim, confused excursions, it remained with them. There was a project to rouse the people and lead an armed insurrection to tear down the jail. There was a passionate interview with a fat man in a motor car, a fat man whom the three patriots insisted was the Premier, and whom they afterwards wanted to fight for trying to impose himself upon them as the Premier. No, I want to change that bit.
An armed insurrection to tear down the jail.
To tear down the jail. What's the next bit? Oh yeah, here it is. There was a passionate...
to tear down the jail.
There was a passionate interview with a fat man.
An armed insurrection to tear down the jail.
There was a passionate interview with a fat man in a motor car. A fat man whom the three patriots insisted was the Premier, and whom they afterwards wanted to fight for trying to impose himself upon them as the Premier. The three reformers spent half an hour knocking up the Premier at a large city wool store, and Benny was... Oh. That's not right, is it?
As the Premier.
The three reformers spent half an hour knocking up the Premier at a large city wool store, and Benno was publicly kicked by the watchman before he would desist. Later, a policeman drove them from the steps of Parliament House, where the Don was making a passionate speech to some lampposts, while his satellites slept at his feet. At 11:15 o'clock.
While his saddle...
This is crazy.
Later, kicked by the watchman before he would desist. Kicked by the watchman before he would desist.
Later, a policeman drove them from the steps of Parliament House, where the Don was making a passionate speech to some lampposts, while his satellites slept at his feet. At 11:15 o'clock, three splendid, public-spirited electors passed out over Prince's Bridge and along the St. Kilda Road in the soft and kindly light of the full moon. They were no longer eloquent. Their gait was, eccentric. Their minds were clouded. Still, they were true to their trust. The demands of a sublime duty drove them forward. A man tried to bar their way at the big gates. He seemed to have a gun. His behavior was most extraordinary. The Don explained to him that there was not a moment to lose. "Life and liberty!" cried Benno. "Nothing turn us aside," said Billy King. "Victim of brutal tyranny, languishing in prison." The man with the gun was obdurate, and the Don did something to him. The three heroes passed over that man's body and on to the residence of the Governor-General to accomplish their object. "Pity we forgot to bring the brass band," said the Don. Wild telephones summoned the police in numbers, and when they arrived, they found three young men besieging Government House, One was hauling at the bell, another knocked at a window, the third was delivering a stirring oration from his seat on the doormat. The subsequent remarks of the young men conveyed the idea that they wanted the Governor-General's assistance in striking for freedom. They thought His Excellency would get up and do justice to a wronged man if they were admitted to his bedside to put the matter to him in its true light. When Benno awoke on Monday morning, it was with a horrible sense of suffering and calamity. Sorry, need to swallow. Nah, I think I'll start that paragraph again.
To put the matter to him in its true light.
When Benno awoke on Monday morning, it was with a horrible sense of suffering and calamity. His bones were full of aches, his head was as heavy as a pig of lead. His mouth was littered with Dead Sea fruit, and a burning thirst consumed his vitals. He groaned, he blinked, he stirred on his bed of tumbled bricks. Then he uttered a cry of apprehension and sat up. Pardon me.
Cry of apprehension and sat up.
Wildly he shook his companions from their sleep. Wildly they looked upon the four walls, and the
Cry of apprehension and sat up.
I think I should have got drunk for this. Like, they're so drunk. They're so pissed. I wish I'd just,
Cry of apprehension and sat up.
Where is he? Oh,
Cry of
sorry.
apprehension and sat up.
Wildly he shook his companions from their sleep. Wildly they looked upon the four walls and the wretched furnishing. Jimmy G.
Walls,
Not Jimmy
the
G. Jimmy G.
wretched furnishing.
Jimmy G. Oh, we're pinched. The wail came from the lips of Billy. That's not a wail.
And the wretched furnishing.
Jimmy G, we're pinched. The wail came from the lips of Billy King. It was terribly true. They were in a cell. There was a fourth man in the deer compartment.
They were in a cell.
There was a fourth man in the drear. Come on, man. Speak the words. There was a fourth man in the drear compartment. He sat on a bunk and gazed at them with contempt. It's a damnable thing that a decent man should have to spend a night with a herd of stale drunks like you, he said, disgustedly. The fourth man was Comrade Hemming. And that's a wrap. All right, so that's pretty easy. We might listen back to it. Maybe. We'll see how we go. In the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to quickly do our ACX check. You can't see some of this stuff, but it's going to be all right. Okay, we've got a peak level of 5.69, minus 5.69, which means it's pretty good, which means I was probably yelling into the mic a bit too much. I hope I haven't clipped it. The RMS level is minus 32.52 decibels, which is too quiet. It's supposed to be within 23 to 18, minus 23 to minus 18 decibels. And our noise floor is actually fucking amazing. The noise floor is like 82. What the hell? All right, we're going to join it all together. Okay, so that should be merged. Zoom out, check. Yep, good stuff. All right, and now we're going to get rid of this. Okay, now we're going to do... Oopsie doopsie. Okay, we're going to select it all, and we're going to run our filter curve, EQ. I'm excited to hear what this sounds like. It's probably going to sound bloody terrible, I'll be honest with you, because, like, there is no way that I didn't sound too drunk. Luckily. I mean, but to be honest with you, it's written that way. Like, look at it. Look at it. He's saying, what are they saying here? True steel. What I like in you, Dixon, is there's no beastly pride about you. And you're brave. Like it's drunk talk. Like it's even spelled phonetically like drunk talk. Anyway, we'll soon find out if it sounds any good. I don't know if it will. Now, let's just, out of interest, the ACX check pulled up at minus 82 decibels before for the noise floor. So raising the entire volume and fixing the average sound levels across it has meant that it's now at minus 19, which is good, and peak levels minus 3.6, which is fine. But the noise floor is now minus 69. So what I'm going to do, 69, stop it. Hey, stop it. All right, okay, so we're going to get noise reduction sample here. Select it, and we're going to apply noise reduction across the entire thing. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it sound a little different, but it's worth it for the lack of buzz or lack of hum in the background. Oh, crikey. Righto. Bleep bloop. I'm going to put the fan on. Oh. So, here we go. Let's check the noise floor now. Minus 75, that's probably going to do.
Welcome back to Boring Dad Sleep Stories. Today we're going to read The Rescue by Edward Dyson. Boys, I've had a long discussion with you on the live stream as I made this, as I constructed it. Go back and listen to episode 4 of the BD Sessions Live to hear more about why I'm recording this particular piece of literature for you, which was published in 1894, by the way. And Edward Dyson, the author, was an Australian, so that's pretty cool. It's a highly impactful and insightful piece, I think. Let's see what you think. Love you, boys. So much.
Let's just, it's good stuff. But I'm just going to reduce the pause there. Go back a bit.
I think. Let's see what you think. Love you, boys. So much.
Here we go.
It was Sunday. There were 3 of our friends in the darkened bar. Benno, the Don, and Mr. William King. They'd been living
I think I started out giving them voices and then completely just decided not to give them voices halfway through. And that's fine. It's pretty annoying, but it's fine. All right. All right, let's go. Average view duration. Wow. I'm just looking at the analytics for the chat. It's actually pretty good. Not for the chat. There's no chat. There's 0 chat. I don't really mind, fellas. But what I am pretty impressed with is that some people are staying around a fair bit. It's crazy. Right. Okay, how do I get back to what I'm doing? Here we go, here we go. All right, so I've just done a punch copy, which you can't see on the screen, but basically that means I've taken that chunk out of the screen. And what I've done now is I'm going to apply that to this gap here, and it will just slot it in neatly, beautifully. Oh, punch paste is the best. Okay, right, here we go.
Benno, the Don, and Mr. William King. They'd been living expensively during the last few hours and had recently arrived at a due sense of their importance in the great scheme of things. The Don, who was a sturdy drinker of native ales, was as thoroughly pickled as little Mr. Ben Dixon, a mere amateur and a thirster of wretched capacity, but this spree was something in the nature of a handicap, Nicholas Don having started on a career of profligacy early in the day. He associated himself with Billy King in the afternoon, and towards evening the two fell in with Benno and straightway adopted the small clerk with the intention of making him as disgraceful as themselves. As a result of this nice adjustment, the Don, Benno, and Billy King were in a corresponding condition of exaltation and noble pride. Their admiration for each other was only exceeded by the appreciation each had of his own splendid qualities as a man and a brother, a public-spirited citizen, a friend of virtue, and a heroic champion of the poor and downtrodden. The conversation had taken a philosophical turn. It bore gravely on the shocking inequalities fostered by the existing social system, the increasing tyranny of the rich, the sweat and agony of the toiling masses. There were moments when the little clerk felt strongly impelled to go out and kill a plutocrat in the interests of the working man. He had mentioned it more than once. Nicholas Don set down his pewter where the counter should have been, but wasn't,
Where are we up
and
to?
gazed at Benno with brimming eyes. He embraced him. "I'm very fond of you, Benno," he said. "You're a splendid fella. Man of my own heart, brave as a lion, true as steel. What I like in you, Dixon, is there's no beastly pride about you, and you're brave." Benno was much moved. He seized the Don's hand and wrung it with silent fervor. It was a touching scene. Billy King, from under whose hat tiny drops of perspiration were oozing, surveyed it with symptoms of profound emotion. "Yes, yeah," said Nicholas defiantly. "You're brave. You stand up for the suffering masses, same as me." "Me too," said Billy King.
There's just a little thing there I'll take out.
You
That little click there, we'll just get rid of that. Oh, what are you doing, mate? Come on now. There you go.
You're brave. You stand up for the suffering masses, same as me." "Me too," said Billy King. He was very pale but determined. "Let's do or die," he said. Nicholas Don embraced Billy with the other arm. He regarded him with tender pride. "Here, here," he said. "We'll stand together. It's time something was put down. There's too much unnecessary suffering poor in the world. The rich is getting richer, and the poor is getting poorer. Look at the widow and the orphan," he cried. "Look at the widow and the orphan," he repeated, still more vehemently. Benno burst into tears. There was silence for a few moments. The other two regarded our Mr. Dixon in puzzled melancholy. They were struggling to recall the circumstances. "Widow and orphan," said Billy King, prompting, but his brilliant mind refused to connect Benno's tears with the argument. The two fell on Dixon. They smothered him with sympathy. Billy King wiped his eye. The Don patted him on the back and murmured soothingly, "Buck up, old man," he said. "Buck up. Never say die while you got strong heart and stout head." It appeared that Mr. Dixon was crying over the widow and orphan in a general sort of way. He thought he once knew a widow and orphan somewhere. He could not recollect where. He thought she was pale and beautiful, with a look of heavenly resignation, but he wasn't sure. However, his grief was not for any individual case, it was for widows and orphans as a class. He wept on principle. Benno's friends did not despise his tears. They respected him for him. "Shows tender, sympathetic nature," said Nicholas. "Have a drink?" The Don looked narrowly at the two pewters on the counter. His own was on the floor. He counted the pots, and a worried calculation fled across his mind. "Where's old Billy gone?" he said. He counted the pewters again. Billy was still absent, so he drank Billy's beer. They had another, and the conversation developed greater fervor. It became evident that the democracy must awake and arise. In the absence of a general awakening and arising, the three were prepared to awake and arise entirely on their own responsibility. "There's their wireless telegraphy and their preferential voting," said the Don argumentatively. "What good are they to the working man? What we want's quality of opportunity. Quality of opportunity," he repeated. "Yes," said Benno. "Quality of opportunity." "And liberty of the subject," said Billy King.
How have they been treating Hemming? What price of free country where they pinch a poor man for speaking his mind? That's right, said the Don, sagaciously. That's right. It's an infringement of the rights of free speech. Something will have to be done.
Benno was quite positive about it. He saw the country sliding to ruin. Immediate action was called for.
It's up to us to do it, he said. Hemming's a friend of the struggling masses. Damn it, he's a friend of mine.
Hemming had been arrested that morning for inflammatory language in the course of a Yarrabank oration dealing with constituted authorities, conventional religions, and great persons, and was then languishing in a prison cell. Billy's reminder gave point and purpose to the fine emotions of the brothers in beer. Their aspirations took form. Here was an object, a mission.
It's outrageous, said Nicholas Don. Hammond's a decent bloke. He hasn't done anybody any harm. And just because he's speaking up for suffering humanity, the Johns runs him in. This has got to be put a stop to.
He hit the counter with his pint.
This has got to be put a stop to, he said decisively, addressing the barmaid. Don't care how and what you say. Righto, cried the little clerk. It's up to us to use our influence. We'll see something about it, said Billy King vaguely.
Determination was stamped upon their brows. Enthusiasm was in their hearts. Their souls were suffused with a righteous scorn for the oppressor and a hatred of wrongdoing. They had another drink.
Now, we'll go to get that man out, said the Don. Yes, now we'll get him out and perish in attempt, said Kingy. Liberty or death, cried Benno.
They shook hands on it and marched resolutely into the street. The three patriots did not merely hail a tram, they commandeered one. They were public-spirited men with a great purpose. Already their quest had assumed the dignity of a popular rising. They did not stop the tram with insolence or hauteur, but...
You got to understand, fellas, that, like, the reason I'm laughing at it, even though it's my own voice, is not because I think I'm an amazing narrator. It's just because I've never read this story before. I read it just then for you. So, like, this is literally the first time I'm hearing it read out loud. And it's just, it's hilarious. It's just a funny story. It's also tragic, but pretty funny. It's pretty reminiscent of some nights on the town back in the day. So, yeah, good stuff.
They did not stop the tram with insolence or hauteur, but there was a terrible impressiveness about their joint behest that might have stopped a universe. The whole tram system trembled and obeyed. Benny explained to the conductor that they were bound for the city to secure the immediate release from durance vile of good comrade Hemming. It was understood that in these circumstances the tram would be rushed straight through. And when presently it stopped to pick up passengers, the public benefactors were hurt and indignant. It seemed to them that the conductor was showing a lamentable lack of enthusiasm in a great cause. Benno threatened to report him. He promised to hold the tramway system up to popular odium. He expressed the belief that the system was no friend of the working man. When the three reached the city, their grand purpose was still uppermost in their minds. They knew perfectly well what they were going to do. They were about to visit the powers, and by the exercise of their own enormous personal influence and their great perspicacity, induce them to throw open the jail doors to the martyred Hemming. In the event of a failure of the methods, which, however, was not likely, Nicholas Don was prepared to remind the Premier that their force of character alone was preventing a terrible rising, and that
Good times.
What restraint they exerted over an outraged and furious populace would be withdrawn at once if the just request of the democracy were not instantly complied with. They met Fuzzy Ellis. Fuzzy was leading 4 little nephews and nieces. He did not seem overjoyed to see them. They backed him up against the town hall and explained their mission to him. They explained it at great length. Fuzzy tried to get away, but they held him to the wall, saying that he must not detain them, as it was absolutely necessary that they should go at once and bring the Chief Justice to release Comrade Hemming. Fuzzy Ellis was painfully proprietary. He sympathized with everything. He agreed with everybody. His little nephews and nieces clung to his legs, and Benny and Nicholas and Billy King enlarged on the infamy of which constituted authority had been guilty in incarcerating that noble soul, Comrade Hemming. Finally, they got very angry with Fuzzy for detaining them, knowing the importance and urgency of their mission, and Benno dismissed him with scorn and contempt. "It's no use you talking. Our mind's made up," said the clerk. "We'll have him out, perish the tempt. What good are you to the working man? You hireling of the rich. Stand aside, I say." They passed on. The Don suggested that their next course was to have a drink. No doubt that was the proper procedure. There was not a dissentient voice. Don knew a pub. In another dark, secluded bar, they told the vague, furtive barmaid their splendid intention. They swore her to secrecy, and then, having looked up the address of the Prime Minister in a directory, they went forth again, firm in their purpose. Billy King was on the door at another pub, and after that, they took tram to a northern suburb to visit a hotel.
That's weird. Let's just take that bit out.
They took tram to a northern suburb to visit a hotel where the...
Save it as we go. Good habits.
They took tram to a northern suburb to visit a hotel where the Don was known and respected. All this time, their zeal in the interests of the people's champion, Comrade Hemming, burned white hot. Through many dim, confused excursions, it remained with them. There was a project to rouse the people and lead an armed insurrection to tear down the jail. There was a passionate interview with a fat man in a motor car, a fat man whom the 3 patriots insisted was the Premier, and whom they afterwards wanted to fight for trying to impose himself upon them as the Premier. The 3 reformers spent half an hour knocking up the Premier at a large city wool store, and Benno was publicly kicked by the watchman before he would desist. Later, a policeman drove them from the steps of Parliament House, where the Don was making a passionate speech to some lampposts, while his satellites slept at his feet. At 11:15 o'clock, 3 splendid, public-spirited electors passed out over Prince's Bridge and along the St. Kilda Road in the soft and kindly light of the full moon. They were no longer eloquent. Their gait was eccentric. Their minds were clouded. Still, they were true to their trust. The demands of a sublime duty drove them forward. A man tried to bar their way at the big gates. He seemed to have a gun. His behavior was most extraordinary. The Don explained to him that there was not a moment to lose. "Life and liberty!" cried Benno. "Nothing turn us aside," said Billy King. "Victim of brutal tyranny, languishing in prison." The man with the gun was obdurate, and the Don did something
to him. The three heroes passed over that man's body and onto the residence of the Governor-General to accomplish their object. "Pity we forgot to bring the brass band," said the Don. Wild telephones summoned the police in numbers, and when they arrived, they found three young men besieging Government House. One was hauling at the bell, another knocked at a window, the third was delivering a stirring oration from his seat on the doormat. The subsequent remarks of the young men conveyed the idea that they wanted the Governor-General's assistance in striking for freedom. They thought His Excellency would get up and do justice to a wronged man if they were admitted to his bedside to put the matter to him in its true light. When Benno awoke on Monday morning, it was with a horrible sense of suffering and calamity. His bones were full of aches. His head was as heavy as a pig of lead. His mouth was littered with Dead Sea fruit, and a burning thirst consumed his vitals. He groaned, he blinked, he stirred on his bed of tumbled bricks. Then he uttered a cry of apprehension and sat up. Wildly, he shook his companions from their sleep. Wildly, they looked upon the four walls and the wretched furnishing. They looked upon the four...
Hang on, we can fix that. This is a loose recording. And you know what? I'm kind of loving it.
They looked upon the four walls and the wretched furnishing. "Jimmy G, we're pinched," the wail came from the lips of Billy King. It was terribly true. They were in a cell. There was a fourth man in the drear compartment. He sat on a bunk and gazed at them.
Hang on.
He sat.
I reckon.
There was a fourth man in the drear compartment.
I think a bit more of a pause there. So what we do here is we're going to split it up a bit, move it across, maybe like another 3/4 of a second. Yeah. We're going to bridge that gap. We're going to merge it by using the punch paste. And then we're going to merge it together again. Voila. Band-Aid healed.
In a cell. There was a fourth man in the drear compartment. He sat on a bunk and gazed at them with contempt. "It's a damnable thing that a decent man should have to spend a night with a herd of stale drunks like you," he said, disgustedly. The fourth man was Comrade Hemming.
It's a classic. Oh, man. That was pretty cool. Okay, right. What's cool about it is that I read about a third of it previous. Like when I said I hadn't read it, I had read I had read some of it today when I had this idea. What I love about it is it's similar in that Black Mirror episode in that it's just about talking. And like the whole idea is the movement towards the action for the sake of movement and getting drunk along the way. I don't know. I'm sure if I put some thought into that, I'd probably be able to add some symbolism and metaphor to it. But what we'll do in the meantime, while I'm waiting, is we're going to export this. Well, we're going to save it now. We're going to export it. And we're going to export it as a sound file, MP3, with its usual quality, sample rate, and bitrate mode. And then we're going to open it up in CapCut. We're going to make a quick video out of it. And then once we've made a quick video out of it, we're going to upload it. While it's exporting, we might try and start finding a quote. It's going to be our thumbnail, and that'll be it. I have got another story, but in the sake of getting to bed before 1 a.m., I'm pretty keen on trying to not burn the candle too much at both ends. Oh, pardon me. So what I'm going to do instead of do the next story, which I believe it's a fair whack of a story. I think the next one was... Let me just double check what it was, because I had this... it had these two texts, and one of them was the one we just did. And the other one was... The Machine Stops by E.M. Forster, which is amazing. The Machine Stops. Is it here? Let's see if Forster's here. No? The Machine Stops? No. Interesting. I wonder if it's public domain or not. Let's just have a quick look at Project Gutenberg. The Machine Stops. Yep. Oh, so it's in a collection. That's why. Huh. Imagine, if you can, a small room hexagonal in shape like the cell of a bee. It is lighted neither by window nor by lamp, yet it is filled with a soft radiance. There are no apertures for ventilation, yet the air is fresh. There are no musical instruments, and yet, at the moment that my meditation opens, the room is... what does it say? Throbbing. Where does it go? This room is throbbing with melodious sounds. An armchair is in the center, by its side a reading desk. That is all the furniture. And in the armchair there sits a swaddled lump of flesh, a woman about 5 feet high, with a face as white as a fungus. It is to her that the little room belongs. An electric bell rang. The woman touched a switch, and the music was silent. I suppose I must see who it is, she thought, and set her chair in motion. The chair, like the music, was worked by machinery, and it rolled her to the other side of the room, where the bell still rang importunately. "Who is it?" she called. Her voice was irritable, for she had been interrupted often since the music began. She knew several thousand people. In certain directions, human intercourse had advanced enormously. Sounds like Facebook to me. But when she listened into the receiver, her white face wrinkled into smiles, and she said, "Very well. Let us talk. I will isolate myself. I do not expect anything important will happen for the next 5 minutes, for I can give you fully 5 minutes, Kuno. Then I must deliver my lecture on music during the Australian period." What the hell? When would the Australian period be, by the way? Anyway, she touched the isolation knob so that no one else could speak to her. Then she touched the lighting apparatus, and the little room was plunged into darkness. "Be quick," she called, her irritation returning. "Be quick, Kuno. Here I am in the dark wasting my time." But it was fully 15 seconds before the round plate that she held in her hands began to glow. A faint blue light shot across it, darkening to purple, and presently she could see the image of her son, who lived on the other side of the earth, and he could see her. "Kuno, how slow you are." He smiled gravely. I really believe you enjoy dawdling. I have called you before, Mother, but you were always busy or isolated. I have something particular to say." "What is it, dearest boy? Be quick. Why could you not send it by pneumatic post?" "Because I prefer saying such a thing. I want you to come and see me." Vashti watched his face in the blue plate. "But I can see you," she exclaimed. "What more do you want?" "I want to see you not through the machine." said Kuno. "I want to speak to you, not through the wearisome machine." "Oh, hush," said his mother, vaguely shocked. "You mustn't say anything against the machine." "Why not?" "One mustn't." "You talk as if a god had made the machine," cried the other. "I believe that you pray to it when you are unhappy. Men made it, do not forget that. Great men, but men. The machine is much, but it is not everything. I see something like you in this plate, but I do not see you. I hear something like you through this telephone, but I do not hear you. This is why I want you to come. Come and stop with me. Pay me a visit so that we can meet face to face and talk about the hopes that are in my mind." She replied that she could scarcely spare time for a visit. Spare the time for a visit. The airship barely takes 2 days to fly between me and you. I dislike airships. Why? Oh wait, no, I got that wrong. The airship barely takes... I switched characters. Whoops. Anyway, look, I'm not actually recording this now. It's an interesting read, though, isn't it? So what I might do is I'm really tempted to... Hang on. How many words is that? Let's find out. I'm going to highlight... Sound effects. Priceless, right? Sorry about that. Okay. You probably thought this was a relaxing stream tonight, didn't you, fellas? Didn't you, boys? Okay, right. So I'll click on this thing that you can't see, and it says that... Oh, that can't be right. 37,000 words? Is it really? Oh, because it's a collection of short stories. Yeah, that's why. Okay, so... Whew. Okay. Part 2. Part 3. Here we go. Okay, this is looking more promising for a short story. I was like, what the hell, man? Okay, right. It's not actually 37,000 words. It's 12,162 words. Okay, so I can deal with that. That's fine. So what we'll do is... That's still too long for tonight. But it means that what we can do is we can reserve that for tomorrow. I think I will stream tomorrow, if I can help it. And yeah, in the meantime, The Rescue, which has similar themes around, like we've been saying, creating content or creating a noise. In the case of The Rescue, creating noise with the best of intentions, but also being aware that you're in the back of your mind that you're probably just caught up in the issue, but not actually going to do anything. To be fair, in The Rescue, this is not exactly how I thought. I didn't think it was going to be exactly like that. They actually had a purpose. They were overly simplified in their approach, and maybe that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make as well. Like, people just yell about stuff and expect stuff to happen. And they kind of move in the right direction, but they never... this metaphor kind of works. Let's go with this. This analogy works. So they move in the right direction, and they have good intentions, but they are not articulated in their response. Like, they can't articulate a proper response other than just like generalized anger or passion, and I think that's kind of what I see online at the moment, and that's kind of the point in 15 Million Merits that he's trying to make. Right, so select a media source, The Rescue Raw, The Rescue, here it is. We're going to pop it down. You can't see any of this. All right, let's just see.
Welcome back to Boring Dad Sleep Stories.
That works.
Today we're going to read The Rescue by Edward Dyson.
Okay.
Boys, I've had a long discussion with you on the live stream as I made this, as I constructed it. Go back and listen to episode...
Nice. Okay, and the last bit, let's just make sure that works.
It was terribly true. They were in a cell. There was a fourth man in the drear compartment. He sat on a bunk and gazed at them with contempt. It's a damnable thing that a decent man should have to spend a night with a herd of stale drunks like you, he said, disgustedly. The fourth man was Comrade Hemming.
Yep, okay, that works. That works. So, right, we're going to export that in CapCut. That is going to get turned into... Will we do it in 720? We'll do it in 720. We're not going to do it in HD. Video, yep. What's it called again? The Rescue. The Rescue. I think I'm going to have to read the other guys, that guy's other stuff, because just out of loyalty and patriotism or something. An actual, not actual, that's so terrible. There are so many good Australian, like so many, but just less that I've heard of and less that I've read and kind of going, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Like, I'm digging that. No, I'm really digging that. That was good. Okay, so while that's happening, we're going to have to find a quote, and then we're going to we'll get this up here. We'll get Paint open here. And we're going to see... There we go. So you can see it now. You can see Microsoft Paint too. All right, I'll get my stylus out. Let's start writing. But before we start writing, of course, here's the... Here's the stylus. But before we start writing, we have to find the quote that we're going to put on the thumbnail. Make a freshly minted thumbnail. It's going to come hot off the press. And obviously, it's going to make something completely viral. We might even get 10 views, if we're lucky. All right, okay. So, that's not it. This is it. Okay. I don't think if I use their speech, people will just think that I'm like, I want something evocative. You gotta be provocative. So, you have to stand up for the suffering masses. What about something a bit humorous? Because, I mean, it's humorous. I want people to click on it so they're not surprised by the humor in it. What's the bit where he's, like, talking to a lamppost, which is a classic, by the way. Hang on, it's around here somewhere. Don was making a passionate speech to some lampposts. Let's see how that looks. Calligraphy brush, and we're gonna make it about 18 pixels. So what is it? Don was making a passionate speech to some lampposts. The Don. Okay, what if I'm up here? Nah, that's no good because that... Okay. Okay, this is me pretending that I can write neatly. The Don. The Don. was... Oh my gosh, this is so slow. Oh, that was a mock-up. Let me see if I can make it work. No, I can't make it work. Bugger. Was making okay. This is where I would put some background music on if I really gave a shit about clicks. And what am I saying? The Don was making a... That doesn't look like an A, does it? Compared to the other A. Should I really care this much about it? No. Making a... Passion. Oh, no, the other one I did this. Here we go. Passionate. Passionate. Passionate speech. What is it? Speech to some lampposts. A passionate speech. An art channel this is not. Well, what are you gonna do, eh? To some... Can you hear the concentration pouring off me like sweat? I'm too into this. The Don was making a passionate speech to some... That's no good. That's not an L. Look, you win some, you lose some, eh? I need to get quicker at this. How do they spell lamppost? Like, how are they formatting it? One word. No, formatting it. That's not the right word. Okay. What the hell was that? Okay. Let's try this. Come on now. Oh, God. Still fun, though.
Welcome back to Boring Dad Sleep Stories. Today we're going to read The Rescue by Edward Dyson. Boys, I've had a long discussion with you on the live stream as I made this, as I constructed it. Go back and listen to episode 4 of the BD Sessions Live to hear more about why I'm recording this particular piece of literature for you, which was published in 1894, by the way. And Edward Dyson, the author,
Lampposts.
was an
That's not a
Australian.
word.
So that's pretty
Two
cool.
peas, you dickhead.
It's a highly impactful and insightful piece, I think. Let's see what you think. Love you, boys. So much. It was Sunday. There were 3 of our friends in the darkened bar: Benno, the Don, and Mr. William King. They'd been living expensively during the last few hours and had recently arrived at a due sense of their importance in the great scheme of things. The Don, who was a sturdy drinker of native ales,
There we
was
go.
as thoroughly pickled as little Mr. Ben Dixon, a mere amateur and a thirster of wretched capacity, but this spree was
All right.
something in the nature of a handicap, Nicholas Don having started on a career of profligacy early in the day. He associated himself with Billy King in the afternoon, and towards evening the two fell in with Benno and straightway adopted the small clerk with the intention of making him as disgraceful as themselves. As a result of this nice adjustment, the Don, Benno, and Billy King were in a corresponding condition of exaltation and noble pride. Their admiration for each other was only exceeded by the appreciation each had of his own splendid qualities as a man and a brother, a public-spirited citizen, a friend of virtue, and a heroic champion of the poor and downtrodden. The conversation had taken a philosophical turn. It bore gravely on the shocking inequalities fostered by the existing social system, the increasing tyranny of the rich, the sweat and agony of the toiling masses. There were moments when the little clerk felt strongly impelled to go out and kill a plutocrat in the interests of the working man. He had mentioned it more than once. Nicholas Don set down his pewter where the Countess should have been, but wasn't, and gazed at Benno with brimming eyes. He embraced him. "I'm very fond of you, Benno," he said. "You're a splendid fella. Man of my own heart, brave as a lion, true as steel. What I like in you, Dixon, is there's no beastly pride about you, and you're brave." Benno was much moved. He seized the Don's hand and wrung it with silent fervor. It was a touching scene. Billy King, from under whose hat tiny drops of perspiration were oozing, surveyed it with symptoms of profound emotion. "Yes, you are," said Nicholas defiantly. "You're brave. You stand up for the suffering masses, same as me." "Me too," said Billy King. He was very pale but determined. "Let's do or die," he said. Nicholas Don embraced Billy with the other arm. He regarded him with tender pride. "Here, here," he said. "We'll stand together. It's time something was put down. There's too much unnecessary suffering poor in the world. The rich is getting richer, and the poor is getting poorer. Look at the widow and the orphan," he cried. "Look at the widow and the orphan," he repeated, still more vehemently. Benno burst into tears. There was silence for a few moments. The other two regarded our Mr. Dixon in puzzled melancholy. They were struggling to recall the circumstances. "Widow and orphan," said Billy King, prompting, but his brilliant mind refused to connect Benno's tears with the argument. The two fell on Dixon. They smothered him with sympathy. Billy King wiped his eye. The Don patted him on the back and murmured soothingly, "Buck up, old man," he said. "Buck up. Never say die while you got strong heart and stout head." It appeared that Mr. Dixon was crying over the widow and orphan in a general sort of way.
He thought he once knew a widow and orphan somewhere. He could not recollect where. He thought she was pale and beautiful, with a look of heavenly resignation, but he wasn't sure. However, his grief was not for any individual case, it was for widows and orphans as a class. He wept on principle. Benno's friends did not despise his tears. They respected him for them. Shows tender, sympathetic nature, said Nicholas. Have a drink? The Don looked narrowly at the two pewters on the counter. His own was on the floor. He counted the pots, and a worried calculation fled across his mind. Where's old Billy gone? He said. He counted the pewters again. Billy was still absent, so he drank Billy's beer. They had another, and the conversation developed greater fervor. It became evident that the democracy must awake and arise. In the absence of a general awakening and arising, the three were prepared to awake and arise entirely on their own responsibility. There's their wireless telegraphy and their preferential voting, said the Don argumentatively. What good are they to the working man? What we want's quality of opportunity. Quality of opportunity, he repeated. Yes, said Benno. Quality of opportunity. And liberty of the subject, said Billy King. How have they been treating Hemming? What price a free country where they pinch a poor man for speaking his mind? That's right, said the Don, sagaciously. That's right. It's an infringement of the rights of free speech. Something'll have to be done. Benno was quite positive about it. He saw the country sliding to ruin. Immediate action was called for. It's up to us to do it, he said. Hemming's a friend of the struggling masses. Damn it, he's a friend of mine. Hemming had been arrested that morning for inflammatory language in the course of a Yarrabank oration dealing with constituted authorities, conventional religions, and great persons. He was then languishing in a prison cell. Billy's reminder gave point and purpose to the fine emotions of the brothers in beer. We're going to read their aspirations took form. Edward Dyson. Here was a boy's object. I've had a long discussion with you on the live stream as I mentioned.
What the hell is going on?
I can listen to episode 4. Emmons a decent bloke. He hasn't done anybody any harm.
Stop. What the hell was that doubling up there? Okay, we're ready to start uploading now. So we're going to upload this to the YouTube channel that you're watching right now, boys. So let's start that process off. We're going to put the file on there, that's for sure. And okay. Upload video. Great stuff. And we'll get it from here. Boring Dad Sleep Stories. The Rescue. Here we go. And right now that is starting, we're just going to finish off our amazing thumbnail here. Okay. The Rescue. There we go. And now I'm going to do this in Canva. Righto. Make a new file. Make a new design, sorry. Right. Looking at the picture here. There we go. Get rid of its background. And what I've learned in the last few thumbnails is, what I really like about some of them is that they don't take up too much space. Yeah, that one's pretty good. Righto. So we're going to get our parchment here. Here we go. We're going to flip him around 90 degrees. And although you can't see this, I'm currently putting the parchment looking thing background into the back here, send to back. And I might just move this a little. That'll do. Download that. It's going to go viral, guys. We're going to get at least 10 views. Come on, fellas, we can do this. Alrighty, so there we go. We're going to reuse some of the details from a previous video. And the nothing equation was the last thing that we did. Yep, let's reuse all the details from before. And I'm running out of steam here at the end of the stream. This should be called a steam, not a stream. Ah, that made no sense. Okay, moving on. It's called the rescue. The rescue. What's he called again? Edward Dyson? Is that right? Oh, Edward Dyson. Oh. Edward Dyson, dark screen read aloud. There we go. That's crazy. Righto. Full free audiobook, ebook is, so we're going to upload that here. Okay, so we're really just getting the last stuff done here. We're just doing the upload stuff. No big deal. We're just going to copy this in. You guys can't see any of this. It's on a separate screen. Sucks to be you. What are you looking at? Let me have a look over there. Oh, you're just looking at the old Edward Dyson thing. So we just read this Edward Dyson. Hello in the chat, by the way. I'm posting this for my sons. This is my sons, like a dedication to my sons, this whole channel. So welcome to the channel if you're watching. And if not, no stress. Have a great day. So, there's the full audio, the full ebook. Here we are here. Okie dokie. We've got a thumbnail. We've got... No, it's not made for kids. Righto. It's not got any altered content in it. We're not going to allow that or that. We will allow that. Okay. Get rid of Tom Goodwin, whatever his name was. Okay. Let's see. Okay, now we've got okay. What are we tagging this? Oh yeah, it's called The Rescue. The Rescue audiobook. The Rescue. And what's his name? Edward Dyson. And that goes over, so I'm going to have to get rid of that. One thing, books. Bada bing, bada boom. Done, 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 done. Okay, I'm pretty keen to get this thing done. Don't allow remixing. We're just doing the final upload stuff. If you're watching along, then what I'm uploading now will be available on the channel, and all the evidence, boys, of this stuff that we've been doing tonight. Oh, we'll be up on the channel. Oh, so go and watch it over there. This has been incredibly fun, as usual. Just getting out, having a chat to you. And, yeah, great to get out and vent for a bit about my issues with the world, but also just, look, get up tomorrow. The sun's going to come up tomorrow, whether we like it or not. So we'll get that done. Get that day done, and then come back and have a chat about it. And what was I going to say? Oh, I love you, obviously, and it's been a good time out here with you. Yeah, right. So yeah, just good time with you. Wow, I'm just literally repeating the same three things. I need to sleep. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next stream, I guess. So proud of you today, older in your cross country and younger. So proud of you because you are just so friendly and helpful and bubbly, and I love that you're always on the go and you've always just got such great ideas about what you want to do next, and you're always ready to have a go. And I just wish. I can't wait. No, I wish. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see what you become, because you're already so amazing. I can't imagine you guys being any cooler than you are now, but it's going to happen, I bet. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to, the rest of our lives. It's a good day, really. I've got nothing to complain about. All right. Love you guys.